Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. Well, it's time to get started on my very first building project in my new workshop. I'm excited to have this space, even though today is a gorgeous day outside. After today, we're supposed to get another 4 days of rain. So it's going to be really nice to have the spot to be able to work on things, even in that wet weather. It's almost the time of year to start raising broiler chickens again. In fact, we have a batch of 50 Cornish cross chicks coming this week, which means I need to get some new chicken tractors built because in just 3 weeks, they'll be moving out to the tractors so that we can move them around and they can have fresh grass every day to eat. The chicken tractors that we've been using for the last several years just are not working out for us anymore. They were a very basic design made out of some hooped cattle panels. They're kind of hard to get the feed and water in and out of every day. So I'm going to be making something brand new today, something that's based more on the rabbit tractor design that we use, because that is very easy to open, get into, and be able to move around. They're going to be bigger than the rabbit tractors that we have, but they're going to be basically the same type of design. A little bit different with the wire, maybe a little different with the metal roof, and definitely different on the size. Now this is the style of chicken tractor that we've been using in the past. Now this one's been sitting outside in the elements for about 1.5 years because we actually didn't raise chickens last year. We had so many in the freezer from the previous 2 years that we didn't need to raise any last year. So this has been sitting out, so normally there would be obviously a nice tarp that covered about 2/3 of this to keep the chickens dry. They have a little bit down there where they can get some sun. There are some major drawbacks to this type of tractor though. And the main one being the door and how you have to get in and out of it to feed and water the chickens. So the way that this works is that basically there's these straps, this door folds down, and then you can get in here to give the chickens food and water. Now I normally would put the food on this end that's covered by the tarp and the water down on the other end. But you can see that this is really inconvenient to have to get down like this, and it's not very easy to get the food and water inside of there. And when you have this folded down, it gives the chickens opportunity to escape, which isn't ideal either. Also, on processing day, when the chickens are already full size and they're in here, and if you've ever raised broiler chickens, you know they poop a lot, and you need to kind of crawl in here to try to catch them all. It's just not a very convenient system and not something that we want to continue using. So, even though these have served us well for several years, it's time to move on to something better and something that is going to make our job a little bit easier on a day-to-day basis. So let's walk over to our rabbits, and I'll show you the tractors that we're using for the rabbits, since we're basing the new chicken tractors on that design. Now these are the tractors that we've been using for our rabbits for quite a few years now, and I really like this design. Just like the chicken tractors, we tried out many designs of rabbit tractors before we really found one that we liked. But this is the one that we're sticking with from now on. So you can see that they open from the top. It's very easy to get in and out to give the rabbits food and water. You can, a lot of times I'll just put a pole here so that this will stay open and I can work in there and not have to worry about it. Because this opens at the top, I don't have to worry about the rabbits escaping while I'm doing things in there. And it just is a really nice system. Now there will be a few differences for the chicken tractors. On these rabbit tractors, we have a divider here so that they have a little house area and an open area. We won't have that on the chicken tractors. Also on the rabbit tractors, we put wire on the bottom so that the rabbits can't dig out, but we won't have that on the chicken tractors either. We've never had wire on the bottom of our chicken tractors, and we've never had a problem with predators getting in from the bottom. So I don't suspect that we will now either. We'll also be using slightly different size wire on the sides. We'll be using 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch wire, and that will keep them even more secure. Now another nice thing about these is that because they have the metal roof, instead of just using a tarp like we did on our old ones, we won't have to replace those on a yearly basis like we always did before. I haven't decided yet on the new chicken tractors if the roof will go the entire length, or if we'll be leaving a spot that they can get out into the sun if they want to. I'll have to see how much metal we have, and we'll kind of design them as we go. So let's head back over to the shop and we'll get started building. We're going to be making these out of 2x2 lumber. Now earlier this week I went to town, I picked up a bunch of 2x4s, brought them home, ripped them on my table saw into 2x2s. That's a great way to save some money. 2x4s are definitely the most economical wood to buy. 2x4s right now are about $3 a piece. 2x2s are about $2 a piece. So by getting the 2x4s and bringing them home and making your own 2x2s, you can save about $1 a board, which adds up when you're doing quite a few projects. Now, since the weather is so nice out today, I'll be doing most of my cutting outside. That way I have less of a mess to clean up inside the workshop. So let's get the tools out and get started. Now our tractors are going to be 8 feet long by 5 feet wide. Because we're using 8-foot boards, I'm already good there, so I just need to cut 2 of these down to 57 inches to give us our 5-foot width. And we're going to start by building 3 pieces that are exactly the same. It's going to be basically 3 rectangles, 8 feet long by 5 feet wide, and those 3 pieces will be the bottom, the top, and the lid. Now I'm going to be putting these together with pocket holes. If you're not familiar with what pocket holes are a way of connecting 2 boards together by putting a hole. You drill a hole diagonally so that you're not attaching end grain to the other board. Use one of these little jigs here. They sell all different kinds. They're made by a company called Craig. Super handy to have. I use it a ton. So this is the size that the chicken tractors will be. Now I'm going to build 2 of these. Each of these will house 25 Cornish cross chickens from 3 weeks old to butcher size. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is add some braces just to square this up and make it a little more secure. And then we have to just build 2 more exactly like this. Alright, this first one is done. I'm going to move this out of the way and build 2 more exactly like it. Number 2 done. Alright, so I've got all 3 of these 5-foot by 8-foot pieces built. Now because this one's going to be the roof of the chicken tractor, it'll be moving. It will be moving around a lot more than the other ones. So this one I'm going to actually add some extra braces, and that will also help when we attach the roofing onto this one. So I'm going to add some braces, just 2 of them across the center of this. Now that we have all 3 of those built, I'm going to move the one that's going to be the roof out of the way, and we're going to start putting together the actual body of the chicken tractor. Now the wire that I bought for the chicken tractors is 2 feet, and it has 1/2 by 1/2 inch squares. So that way no raccoons can reach through or anything like that. We had that problem with our original chicken tractors, and I had to go back and fix them. So this time I'm just going to do it right away from the beginning. So I'm going to move this out of the way. We're going to get started. I'm going to make these about 26 inches tall so that when I attach the wire, I'll have a little bit of room to move it around and I won't be right on the edges. Alright, so I've attached these uprights. I cut these at 22 inches, so when we put the bottom and the top on, it'll end up being about 25.5 inches. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take some more braces. I'm going to brace these here and here on each leg to give them some stability. And we'll do the same thing when we put the top on. You really want a lot of stability on these because you are going to be moving them around. We want these to last a long time, so it's best to make them right the first time. Nice and sturdy. We've got those uprights all braced, and I actually went ahead and attached the top so you guys can really see the size of what these chicken tractors are going to be. You can see just how nice and sturdy these have turned out. I'm extremely happy. This size, it's about a foot longer than our old chicken tractors, So I always thought that, you know, they could use just a little bit more space. I think this is going to be perfect. The last thing that we're going to try to get done today is to attach the top. And then tomorrow we'll get back out and we'll start on the wire. Let's get the top on so we can actually see how it's going to work. Hopefully it fits. Looks good. Let's get some hinges on it. Well, the cover is all on. I am going to buy one more hinge. I only had two right now, so I'm going to buy one more for in the middle. But you can see that it opens up nicely. I'm going to design something that will hold it open so when we're feeding and watering, this can stay open by itself. It doesn't take two people. But I think it's turning out really, really great. I'm excited that we got this much done today. The next steps will be putting on the wire and putting on the roof, but that's for another day. This is a really good size for 25 Cornish cross chickens. We've been raising these now for quite a few years, and I can tell you that this size will be perfect for 25. We always raise batches of 50, which works out great for our family, but there's actually some benefit to having them in two separate tractors, that they can have a little more room to move around. You don't have to build a tractor that is so gigantic. And on butchering day, you can clear out one tractor one day. We always do them 25 in a day. So we do one tractor one day and another tractor the day after, and we get them all done. You guys, don't forget that the absolute best way that you can support our channel is by sharing our videos with all of the people that you think might enjoy them. Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by the homestead. I'm so glad you joined me on my very first project in our new workshop. Until next time, take care and God bless.